Your local children's hospital is full of superheroes. Superhero patients. They wear gowns instead of capes and often fight evil on a microscopic level. And just like the doctors, nurses, and staff, you can help decimate illnesses and enemy foes for sick and injured children by gaming. Join Extra Life, a community of 50,000 gamers that play games and heal kids. Register at extra-life.org.
So what did you think of Hector and the Search for Happiness?
I liked it, even though Simon Pegg makes me cry.
Well,
not all the time. It's not like seeing him makes me cry. It's just, he made me cry in this movie.
Okay.
Shut up!
Fair enough. So for those of you joining us, welcome. This is You Want Me to Watch What? Podcast where I and another co-host, we talk to each other about movies that one or the other hasn't seen. In this case, Hector and the Search for Happiness, a 2014, I believe. I got rid of my Wikipedia article, so I have lost that particular bit of information. Let's see how fast 2014. Let's see how fast my internet connection is today.
You know, I'm going to screw with you one of these days. Change the Wikipedia articles before you...
Yeah, sure you will.
It's too much work.
2014, uplifting drama. Some folks will say comedy, but...
It's not a comedy.
Comedy in the sense here, in the same way that comedy is used by Shakespeare. It's just there to break the mood.
Yeah.
So, Hector and the Search for Happiness.
It does end in a wedding. This is very Shakespearean.
Yes, very much a comedy.
Yeah.
In the Shakespearean sense of ending in a wedding. If you've ever listened to this podcast before, you know we're going to spoil everything.
Literally, well, mostly everything.
Almost everything. So, if you've not listened to us before, go ahead and go see it. You know, we're going to spoil it.
Absolutely, we're going to spoil it.
All right, so Hector and the Search for Happiness follows Hector, played by Simon Pegg, a quirky but discontented psychiatrist who feels stuck kind of in his routine.
Is he discontented or is he just disconnected, though?
A little bit of both, I would say. I think that the disconnect comes from his discontent. Yeah, I got that right. He and his girlfriend, Clara, they have this safe, dependable life that kind of hits two little speed bumps, one right after the other. One that's known to Hector and one that's not.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's not known to Hector is that his girlfriend, Clara, finds a picture in his sock drawer while she's putting away the laundry that is Hector and a male friend and what looks to be a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a picture, an old picture that's hiding in the sock drawer.
Yeah.
You know, so...
And literally, for a guy whose, girlfriend does literally everything, including cut the crusts off his toast and cut it into little strips for him, he should know better to hide his pictures somewhere a bit more safe.
Yep. The other speed bump involves a chance meeting at one of his girlfriend's work parties, where a woman tells Hector that one can't hold on to happiness. Now, the scene is played for laughs because the woman has a very distinct accent.
Mm-hmm.
But what's underneath the comedy and the accent is this sense of, I'm trying to find happiness. I can't find it. You can't hold it,
Yeah. And then that's pretty much immediately echoed again with one of his patients who, she's feeling like a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
She's a psychic.
Yep.
And, feeling like a fraud and outs him the same. It's like, it's like what you do.
Yeah.
And so, begins his spiraling.
So after that, Hector then begins feeling the disconnect much more between what he's doing and how he feels about it. And after, we're going to just say after a very bad session with one of his patients, where he tells her to own her privilege, effectively, because she's talking about being at the end of her rope, this very upper middle class, woman. And he apologizes for losing his temper, says, are we on for next week? No, I've got to be gone for a few days to take my daughter sailing. The week after, we won't be back yet. And it's like 10 days that she's going to be gone sailing. And he just screams at this woman.
Yeah.
That becomes the impetus for him to take a sabbatical. They don't call it a sabbatical, but it's a sabbatical because he is going to use this time to research happiness. And he tells his girlfriend Clara that, you know, he's going to go do this thing. And she fears but doesn't vocalize her concerns.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis his motivations. In part because of that picture.
Well, which is suddenly missing.
She
is helping him pack his things. Remember, this guy can't cut up his own toast.
Yep.
You know, did you get enough socks? And the picture's gone.
Yep.
And these two adults don't talk.
For people who do seem to care very deeply for one another, they don't communicate with one another. Not on anything beyond a surface business-like level.
Yeah. There's moments that you can see them whenever they're in the car, you know, joking about the one woman's, you know, accent. And, you know, sometimes in the house, but most of the time it seems like even the relationship is going through the motions.
And so as we, you know, as this is going on and so forth, he is going to set off on this global journey. Like, he doesn't have any plan in place. He knows that he's going to start by going to China.
Yep.
And on the road kind of figure out where he's going to go do next.
Almost like there's one place that you think that he's specifically trying to go, which was to see the monks eventually. But otherwise it's, you know, because why else do you take a hike to the mountains in the middle of nowhere?
In China. So he does this, and I think it's important that he's going to discover what makes people happy. Not to figure out how to make people happy, but what makes them happy. He's treating it like... He's very good about treating it like a research project, but he's treating it like a research subject.
Yeah.
Like something that could be mastered if he only gathers enough data. So along the way, he meets a whole bunch of characters. A whole slew of people.
He does connect with people.
He connects with people. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But which kind of seems, you know, it's starting to heal this part of him that just he wasn't connecting with anyone, really.
Yeah. He was meeting the same patients every week, all with always the same issue. And so
he sits next to the same people every weekend when he's flying his plane. You know, his model plane, not...
Yep.
Yeah.
So, on his way to China, he gets upgraded kind of into business class, where he meets this jaded businessman played by Stellan Skarsgård.
Yep. So gotta get the
gotta get the Skarsgårds straight. Stellan Skarsgård, who is a banker who inadvertently teaches Hector kind of the limits of purchased happiness. Because one of those purchases, unbeknownst to Hector, is a young woman named Ying Li that the audience and literally everyone around Hector understands is being paid for her presence.
Yeah. If you don't know it by the time they get back to the hotel, you should really figure it out by then.
Her life as a sex worker kind of ends Hector's... Because Hector starts thinking that he's in love. Like, he's being paid a certain kind of attention that is very similar to what Clara shows him. Someone who is taking care of him, but also puts him a bit on a pedestal. And Clara doesn't put him on a pedestal. She takes care of him like a mother, which is its own series of issues that kind of play into this.
Well, and it comes back around. You know, that statement. So
she inadvertently, and a lot of the things that happen here is that Hector's meeting with people who inadvertently teach him something about happiness that then he writes down in his journal.
Yep.
You know, in this case, love laced with shame. where he thought that he was going a certain direction only to find that it was all a farce.
Yeah.
So from there into the mountains, find momentary peace at a monastery, only to find that connection for him, or that happiness, at least in this case, requires more connection than isolation.
Yeah.
Like you need to be happy with yourself, but also happiness is other people, which I don't quite identify with, but I get. From there, he chooses to catch up with the male friend that's on that sock drawer picture, Michael, who is a doctor in Africa.
Don't know which country in Africa.
No, we don't.
Nope.
And I have mixed feelings about that. Although I will say that the flight from, Shanghai to this nebulous country in Africa that he's going to.
4 flights. He's going to do
4 flights.
The last one.
But the last flight, I like the transition effects that they do, because they basically shift away from taking a really nice flight and the B-roll being a nice flight, to suddenly being cardboard cutouts,
bouncing
around on a stage with cardboard lightning and.
Well, and that's kind of been a theme throughout. Every once in a while, you'll see Simon Pegg, and then you'll cut back to Hector, and you'll see adult Hector, Simon Pegg. Then you'll cut back to almost as a child. Still in the scene, but that idea of that childlike, really, I'm going to do this thing. And that touches on that Hector emotionally is a child. It's like he never really grew out of being able to experience life as an adult. He kind of stopped, and the movie doesn't go into why that is. It just it's the way that it is. So I would say kind of like in Inside Out, how the mom and the dad. The dad is kind of run by anger, but like all of them have the little mustache.
have the mustache kind of thing. I think that's, if we can cross a couple of movies, I think that's what we're supposed to be seeing here, is that Hector's emotional resources didn't really get the upgrade that they needed to. Once he gets to
he's on the plane.
Yep, he's on the plane. He meets a person on the plane who says, "This plane is very old. That means it's never crashed. That should be reassuring to you." Very, fair. Also, still terrifying.
Absolutely.
And, you would have never flown again if that would have been our flight.
Nope. It was bad enough that they didn't, lock the bathroom door, and that sucker banged open while we were taking off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I almost lost a finger on that trip. Anyway. So she invites him to meet with her family to have some sweet potato stew. And while he's in Africa, in this country in Africa, he connects with different locals. He reunites with this old friend. He gets entangled inadvertently with a drug lord played by Jean Reno.
Yep, they're just at the bar. And again, everybody else at that bar knows that this is not a dude to mess with. And here's, your psychiatrist, British psychiatrist on vacation, pulling out his notebook and a pen about, and talking about, he's like, "What are you, with the Times?"
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was the Times. And then the idea that he must be some kind of agent wearing a wire, or
like an agent would be that clueless.
Yeah. The inadvertent lesson here seems to be that drug lord Diego Barresco, who teaches him the limits of power in finding happiness. Here's the guy who has a lot of money and a lot of power. But is he happy? Well, no, because his wife's not happy. And when his wife's not happy, his children aren't happy. And so how can he be happy if the people around him aren't? And Hector tries to help. And we're shown again, Hector is good at connection.
He is.
He is good at being able to connect to people, and he does offer what help he can. And that kind of comes out a little bit later. Unfortunately, before that happens, he gets kidnapped by some, rebels, rival drug dealers.
Not exactly sure. Carjacking.
A carjacking gone really wrong. Mm-hmm. So a carjacking that goes right is when everybody who was in the car is out of the car, and everyone stays kind of safe.
Mm-hmm. The car's the only thing that's
gone. The car gets stolen, yes, but everybody stays alive. In this case, not all the people got out of the car. Hector, who was drunkenly passed out in the back seat, he also gets taken with the car. This does not lead him to happy and good things directly, because he becomes a prisoner for, I'm going to suggest, at least a week, because the candies seem to be kind of the marker of time.
Yeah.
He's got some hard candies in one of his many, many pockets. Mm-hmm. So eventually he is able to kind of get out of that. The threats to his life made him feel really vulnerable for probably the first time in a long time, and forced him to be honest with himself. And so when he's restored to his freedom, he feels fully alive for maybe one of the first times in his adult life.
Yeah.
From there, he travels to Los Angeles, meets up with an old girlfriend.
The sock drawer is
sock drawer
is what Clara calls her.
Yep.
The woman in the picture in the sock drawer.
And we learn at that point that a big part of Hector's dissatisfaction is kind of his nostalgia, his hold on the past of what could have been, if only. And Agnes, this old girlfriend, she's married. She's got 2 kids. She's got
happy.
Another on the way. She is happy in the midst of a life that is chaotic and loud and, I'm going to use the word, unapologetically hers. Mm-hmm. This notion of like, I loved you, but now I love
my husband. Yeah.
Now I love my husband and I love my kids. I am happy, and my happiness has nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. Kind of thing. Well, this all happens in amidst a couple of extra phone calls with Clara, who
finds out where he is. Yeah.
He went to go find his old girlfriend, and they have a fight. And shortly after this, they break up over the phone, sending Hector into a pretty steep spiral of unhappiness. Mm-hmm. And you were going to say something?
No.
While still in L.A., Agnes takes Hector to go see a neuroscientist, Professor Corman, played by Christopher Plummer.
Yep.
The cast in this is really kind of amazing. Uh-huh. Professor Corman's...
I have a question.
Yeah.
I went to college.
Yeah.
How many lectures have you ever been to where the students clap? Because it happens in movies a lot.
I think just the one where Dr. Frankenstein was talking about...
Oh, you were at that one? Mm-hmm.
Well, I've seen it enough. I feel like I was there.
Okay, just...
Yeah, never.
Never.
College professors don't get applauded.
Not even the, visiting professors never got like an ovation.
Mm-hmm. That's not the way that works. It's wish fulfillment. Don't you wish that people would clap for me the way that they clap for...
I mean, Anyway, okay, just asking. It always bothers me. Every time.
And rightfully so. It's bothersome.
Anyway, sorry.
All right.
Carry on. Christopher Plummer, Professor Corman.
They're visiting him. He's studying how happiness works, specifically in the brain. What does that look like in the brain? Which, in this case, involves being locked in a metal box with a silly helmet on, while the computer records like emotional brain waves in green, yellow, and red.
Color-coded.
Yep, color-coded.
For your convenience.
Yep, to make sure that you know whether somebody is a paragon or a renegade. And in a series of kind of emotional revelations, Hector continues holding back until he gets a phone call from Clara. And in that conversation where he finally bears out all of the emotional stuff that's been piling up, and he unlocks the message of the movie. True happiness isn't about avoiding pain or about chasing joy. It's about embracing what is life, include the full spectrum thereof. And so all the little colors get to mix on on Christopher Plummer's computer. Once we have this particular learning, Hector can't wait to get home, make sure he has his passport, flies back to London, reconnects with Clara. The two marry in a denouement that's a little bit fast and kind of simple, but somehow also right for this movie.
Yeah.
So talk to me about when did you buy into the movie? What tried to take you out of it? What'd you like?
Well, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the series of scenes of this, this guy just kind of going and connecting and meeting all these people and trying to just figure this out. It was a journey movie, a road movie. Mm-hmm. And that's nice, The ending felt convenient.
Yeah.
Convenient and rushed. They had one heck of a fight with things you can't really take back after they've been said. That whole mothering thing came up again, where he
smothering is just mothering with an S.
Mm-hmm. And she's admitted she wants to eventually have kids and, all that. And he, whether on purpose or not, throws in their face, well, Agnes has kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fight you don't get over that quickly.
No. That's not how that goes.
But we're reaching the end of the movie. We're the movie has a thing to say.
Mm-hmm. We're at an hour and 45 minutes in at this point. We're about done.
Yeah. So I think probably the strongest thing about the movie is that it keeps asking the question and putting all these things out there so that later, when it's all done and, you've had dinner afterwards, you can relax, wake up the next day, it's like, oh yeah, what is happiness to me? To these guys, it was this thing. So what actually is happiness?
'Cause each person that Hector meets seems to challenge some aspect of his life that he's not thought about.
Yeah.
Even the notion of dancing. No, I don't do that kind of thing. Well, until he's restored to life from almost certain death.
And there's a celebration.
And he figures out how to move his body because he'd never thought about that as anything other than something that might be embarrassing. And so being able to let go and feel those things and act in such a way. So this is not a terribly complex movie. There's a lot of pieces to it, and I think that to really understand it, one would have to watch it. Like, I don't think you could go in and out of the room.
Yeah, you need to watch the journey with, you need to sit with Hector in this.
Yeah. Sometimes we talked about like laundry movies. It's like, this is a movie that you can turn on and you can leave to start the laundry and come back and you've not missed anything. Yeah. Or you fold the laundry because it doesn't take that much attention. This one kind of does. It's not a super deep emotional movie, but it's deep enough, I think, that it requires attention, at least that first time.
At least the first time, yes.
So, this one, do you have anything else? Any other thoughts that you want to bring up about it?
I'm good.
All right. Well, this is a see it from me. How about you?
I enjoyed it. I think, go see it.
So,
or click on, you can't catch it in theaters.
No. Click on the Amazon Prime, link for it. Ignore how it did in the theaters and ignore a lot of the critics. Critics have to watch tons and tons of movies, and they have a different standard for what makes something good. If you were to take this fully objectively, you'd say, yes, this is a mid-level type movie. It's not doing anything terribly new, but it is doing it very well.
Yes. It was well shot. It was well paced.
Yeah.
Which is difficult for some of those. There was no time that I'm just like, okay, come on. This hasn't got like a cheer up Charlie, I'm going to go make popcorn. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah.
Not a bad song. Not in the right spot in the movie and terribly slow.
And the movie itself failed at the box office. Ignore those things because some movies just don't do well in theaters they're still good. Mm-hmm. So this one's a see it from me. It's a see it from you.
Yep.
That's you want me to watch what? And I think that means it's your turn next time.
Got some ideas.